poverty in South Sudan is causing it to be one of the poorest countries in the world. Ever since the civil war started in 2013, nearly 400,000 people have been killed. During the previous civil wars, people would get displaced from their jobs and leave their livelihoods behind. Civil wars require massive consumption of resources over a long period of time. This leads to an eventual shortage of limited resources and funds available to the 6 million people. Because of this, about 50% of the population has been in need of emergency food aid. War in South Sudan caused there to be less workers, resulting in less resources being produced and lowering the country's overall income, also causing a higher poverty rate. South Sudan struggles with poverty and economic crisis. A good example of this is the Sudanese economy. The GDP in South Sudan has not changed in 20 years, leading to extreme poverty and high percentages. If the GDP in African countries such as South Sudan and Madagascar continue to be stagnant, then poverty and a lack of education along with hunger will continue to be an issue. The concentration of poverty in Africa was actually quite recent. Previously, 1 billion people that were living in extreme poverty were located in China and India. In contrast to this, while formerly poor places in Asia and India have developed the economies as the years go on, African countries have proven themselves incapable of doing this, which has caused the inhabitants of South Sudan to suffer. Basic health and medical services aren't available to a vast percentage of the population. Doctors Without Borders has estimated child mortality rates could reach 2.8% per 10,000, which is higher than the 2% that constitutes the label of emergency. The rate of births attended by a skilled health professional is only 19%. This is because basic health services are only accessible to 30% of South Sudan's population of 12.58 million.
CARE was created in 1946 to, in their own words, save lives, defeat poverty, and achieve social justice. CARE partners with US aid to try and find new and sustainable solutions to the problems that impoverished countries are facing. CARE realized that they needed to strategize ideas about their long-term goals instead of mainly focusing on what was happening currently. As of today, CARE is leading all other NGOs in the fight against poverty. CARE helps people from all walks of life, helping to feed children or working towards the goals of abolishing worldwide poverty. CARE is working towards a better world, and it's the right organization to achieve just that. CARE has been providing much-needed help to the region since the early 1990s. They are providing necessary life-saving resources to the internally displaced population of South Sudan. The civil war in South Sudan has been the catalyst for poverty and displacement of these populations. 500,000 of the displaced South Sudanese have been helped by CARE. They have provided emergency food aid, health care, and peaceful communities to the people of South Sudan. CARE's medicines have saved over 10,000 lives in South Sudan. Most people in South Sudan would normally catch a cold or get a virus and go without medicine or vaccines. This made it easier for the virus to get worse, and when you don't get the right nutrients during an illness, it could turn extremely deadly. South Sudan is home to many diseases that the rest of the world hasn't heard of, like Buruli, a South Sudan-based disease that causes a chronic and debilitating illness of the soft tissue. CARE has provided vaccines for numerous diseases and illnesses like Buruli. In addition, the number of people in food crisis has been reduced from 6.1 million, roughly 59% of the Sudanese population, to about 4.4 million, only around 43% of the population. The organization known as CARE has greatly helped the South Sudanese people, relieving over 2 million people in food crisis and saved over 10,000 lives with the medicines that the organization provides. Thank you for your time.